in the final game in the nation's capital. Two teams certainly came in flying. The Washington Redskins had won 7 in a row to win the NFC East, their first division title since 1999. The Seattle Seahawks, well, they've been flying as well. They won 7 of their last 8, including a flattening of San Francisco 2 weeks ago, which did not get them the division, but put everybody's antenna up, both with rookie quarterbacks, both with the wow factor. Russell Wilson, Seattle, RG3 for Washington, albeit with the knee brace and maybe not the 100% that we were used to seeing. But the sky would be the limit for whoever could win this game. We're at a place where you absolutely, positively had to get there overnight. That'd be FedEx Field. So here we go. Highlights now on NFL Primetime. Robert Griffin III hopping around. He's just 22. Russell Wilson, what would they have in store? First drive, Washington. Griffin, play action, Pierre Garçon. They came out forceful, the Redskins. 30 yards on the play. Next play, the Redskins and their league-leading rushing attack. Fellow rookie Alfred Morris. Inside the 5 and 18-yard pickup. 3rd and goal. Griffin, Evan Royster. And the Redskins have come down the field on this big Seattle defense, 7-0. Seattle's first possession, Russell Wilson under pressure, and London Fletcher, the ageless one, makes the play at 3 and out. Now, 2nd and 5 Skins. Griffin keeps it on the option. It's a first down. Redskins playing downhill at this point, fellas, as Griffin rolls out right. Then, oh, that's incomplete to Garçon, who falls down awkwardly and limps to the huddle.
Yeah, you see the awkward fall there. You saw the head hit. You saw him throw the helmet. And you saw him limp back on the field.
But it didn't matter. Griffin says, get open. Logan Paulson hits a touchdown. Bruce Irvin shoving Griffin to the ground. Chippiness early, Trent.
Little chippiness. Both teams were on edge, especially the Seahawks after going down 14-0.
So 14-0 Washington. Now Russell Wilson. Watch this play by Sidney Rice. Wow! Looked like there's no way he'd be in bounds, but he was.
Yeah, initially one ref called it out of bounds. You see a great catch. The toe tap, control the ball through the ground. That's a catch.
But Seattle did not get a touchdown on the drive. 14-3, and this could have been the play of the game. Redskins almost had a fumble by Russell Wilson, but Marshawn Lynch picks it up and runs it 20 yards.
Play of the day. In all the football we saw, Marshawn Lynch saving the day for the Seahawks. Unbelievable ability to go down, grab it, and make a play out of it.
Could have been 21-3. Now Wilson keeping on the option inside the 5. Wait a minute, don't the Redskins run this play? Now it's 1st and goal. Now, 1st and goal, then 2nd and goal. Play action, Michael Robinson, Cuckoo. Wilson finds him, and it's 14-10. Game on. Griffin, Redskins try to respond. He's going to fire deep, maybe couldn't plant quite right. We'll talk about it later. But double coverage, and Earl Thomas, who's such a center fielder, makes the pick.
Beautiful play by Earl Thomas, taking away one of the bread and butter plays of the Redskins. They try to run this deep cross. He bluffs, makes RG3 think he's going to jump Josh Morgan, goes back and robs center field. Beautiful play by Earl Thomas.
Now 2:12 left in the half. Entertaining half. Best one of the playoffs thus far. Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, and there were spots down the middle of the field at this point against the Redskins who were sending people. 33-yard gain later in the drive. Wilson. Bing, oh, Anthony McCoy was not the real McCoy. He dropped it. And they settle for a field goal. So Washington still up 14-13 at the half. First play of the 3rd quarter. Marshawn Lynch. And look at Wilson downfield throwing the block, getting in the way. 26 yards. 1st and 10. Lynch. And he's down to the 2-yard line on the draw play. You can see what's going to happen. Seattle is going to take the lead. It's a formality, except it's a fumble. And it's almost like what goes around comes around, and the Redskins come up with the football.
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch digging in the way he always does, trying to get the last single inch of a run. Helmet on ball, you could tell, and you can see how deflated he was, and you would think the Seahawks would be.
But they hold him pretty quickly. Next possession, Seattle. This is Wilson. Nobody open. I can do this. What? And safe. He played baseball. 28 yards, and that's a first down to the 30. 3rd and 9 from the 29. Josh Wilson. They sent corners and safeties 8, 9, 10, whatever the number was, times That was a sack, a 9-yard loss. Moves Pete Carroll's team out of field goal range. They'd have to punt. Now, fourth quarter. Still, remember, Seahawks have controlled the play the last 2 quarters, but they trailed. Wilson to Zach Miller, such an important part of their receiving game, 22 yards. Later in the drive, 3rd and 5, Seattle. Lynch will take the handoff, busts inside, now makes a move, and look at him go to the 10, to the 5. It's a touchdown. Touchdown Seahawks, 19-14.
And what a great play call. 3rd and 5, you get in the gun and you run the zone read game. You give it to the back, and then Russell Wilson, that youngster, down there being the leading blocker for Marshawn Lynch for the touchdown.
And then the Seahawks decide to go for 2. Wilson standing calmly. Miller, 2-point conversion. Now the lead is a full 7, 21-14. Seahawks. 7 minutes to go in the game. Griffin rolling out. Can't find it. Bruce Irvin doesn't miss him. Doesn't have the elusiveness. And Irvin was there. Loss of 12. Next play. Shotgun. Low snap. And forget it. He crumbles. Does Griffin. Seattle falls on the ball. RG3 stays down. The look of concern on the sidelines, even though it's Seattle ball. Kirk Cousins is about to warm up. Remember, he won that Cleveland game just a few weeks ago. Even Russell Wilson doesn't want to see it. So here it is, guys.
Well, you see the fumble. You see that RG3 has no ability to plant, turn, get back to the football. Kind of crumples on that leg, and a little salute to the crowd and to Coach Shanahan as he limps off.
So he goes to the exam room. Little he would return. Now the Seahawks, they only get a field goal, so 24-14. 4.5 to go, 3rd and 14. Kirk Cousins under all sorts of heat, and it's incomplete. Now on 4th down, the Redskins, they know it's 2 scores. Coach Shanahan sees what's flowing at him. Look at that defense come, fellas. Look out! Cousins throws, pass incomplete.
Great pressure by Seattle Seahawks, bringing the overload to Kirk Cousins' blind side. Great time to dial it up.
And so the Seahawks celebrate. They are moving on. The Redskins after a marvelous run. And, of course, it didn't end. Trent Williams throwing a punch at Richard Sherman. This is during the handshake, so to speak. And so this went on as the game was over. Okay, well, they won't be sending each other Christmas cards next year. I'm going to make a prediction. It's only 51 weeks away. But the Seattle Seahawks, down 14-0 on the road. The Seattle Seahawks, who had not won a road playoff game since 1983, 30 years ago when these guys weren't even born, at the Orange Bowl in Miami. It's the Seahawks moving on to Atlanta. Tale of 2 games? You betcha. So in the first quarter, 129-9, the yardage, fellas. After that, 371 Seattle to 74. The Redskins had 74 yards against that defense for the last 3 quarters. And so the Seahawks are the team that rolls on. So we can start offense, we can start defense. I mean, look, to withstand, I'll ask both of you guys this first. To withstand that energy and that force by the Redskins, it's 14-0. You've heard all week you can't win on the road. Our defense is great. Wait a minute, they're slicing us up. They're running on us. What happened, Tom? Defense.
Well, I think that they certainly were a team that began to exert themselves. And I talked this morning about how they are a bigger, stronger, faster football team. And I don't think that changed, even though they had to withstand, very much like a basketball game, the emotion that was going to exist in the gym, or in this instance, the stadium, was going to be such that you might have to withstand a score or 2. Once they did that, they settled into the kind of football game that they wanted. And I don't think physically a lot of teams are ready to stand toe-to-toe with this football team.
No doubt, Tom. And so much competitive sports isn't what happens to you, it's how you respond to it.
Yes.
Think about the Seattle Seahawks. They go to D.C. They're down 14-0. And the Redskins are having their way with them, especially on the offensive line, piling the Seahawks out of there, running the ball, play action pass, RG3's dealing, and there was no flinch to the Seahawks.
Didn't flinch.
The resolve, the poise they showed to overcome it. Then they fight back, and it's 14-13. They put a great drive together, and Marshawn Lynch has the fumble going in. Once again, no flinch by the Seahawks. I think even more important when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks than their length, their strength, their skilled players, is their resolve, is their poise. It's their soul. I I think this is a really mature football team. It speaks volumes to Pete Carroll, this entire coaching staff, and I think a lot of it's fed off this quarterback.
Russell Wilson. Absolutely.
Young in years, right?
Absolutely.
He is mature far beyond them. And I think that energy, that poise, seeps into the rest of his football team.
Once that fumble was picked up by Marshawn Lynch and not a Redskin, which, unless Wilson gets an arm on a would-be Redskin,
somebody going the other way,
would have been 21-3. Now, who's to say they wouldn't have come back? Absolutely. But once they dodged that, and literally dodged it, it was all Seattle after that. Now, I know you guys want to show a couple of Russell Wilson. I've not seen, other than these old-style drop-back passers where they have the greatest blockers in the world and you could sit there for 6, 7 seconds. Russell Wilson buys more time than anybody I've seen lately. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say. Trent talks about the poise of the football team, and they are feeding, in fact, off of their quarterback. When you take a look at what he is able to do in terms of taking the snap, resetting the pocket, he looks like a guy playing the game in slow motion. He has an uncanny ability to know when to release the football, but every time he goes back to throw, if you can count 1002, 1003, just continue to count and look at how long he's holding on to the football and then making something positive for it happen for the Seattle Seahawks at the end of it. Most quarterbacks, it takes them years and years for the game to slow down to the point where, look, I know that it's not happening here, it's not happening here, it's happening here. Where for Russell Wilson, it has slowed down in the course of one football season.
And real quickly, it is a season that was 3-6 to 7 in a row to win the East, which nobody saw coming. The Redskins did, but all of a sudden it has ended for Mike Shanahan of the Washington Redskins. Let's go to the podium.
Very disappointed today. You always want to play your best football, during the playoffs. Probably had our best first quarter, and after that first quarter, just didn't seem to get things done. So it was, very tough. But I'm excited about this football team, the direction we're headed. Nobody's very happy. There's only one team that's happy at the end of the year, and unfortunately, we're going home a little bit earlier than expected.
Update on Robert, first of all, and second, did you get to a point before he got hurt and came out of the game? Did you think about taking him out before then?
Yeah, Robert will have the MRI. We always check that out, see how serious it is. Yeah, I did, and I talked to Robert, and Robert said to me, he said, Coach, there's a difference between injured and being hurt. And I said, I guarantee I'm hurting right now. Give me a chance to win this football game because I guarantee I'm not injured. So that was enough for me. I thought he did enough for us this year to have that opportunity to stay in the football game. It's always a tough decision, when to pull a guy, when not to. But I talked to him at halftime and had to feel good about him to go back in. And I told him we're going to run the football, and he's going to have to prove to me. And he said, as I said before, he said, hey, trust me. I want to be in there, and I deserve to be in there. And I couldn't disagree with him.
After that conversation on the one keeper to the left side where I think he ran for 9 yards but just didn't look like himself, did you reevaluate a couple of times and still consider going again?
Well, I asked him about that at that time. He said, Coach, he said, I could have ran faster. He said, nobody was there. I get 9.5, 10 yards. He said, that's not too bad. I promise if I got to do it again, I can go faster. So he gave me the right answer.
Well, look, nobody knows better, Trent, Tommy, than Coach Shanahan. I don't think we can question, right, that RG3 is playing. That's not an issue to me. Is it to you?
Not in one single bit. Right. And I think you made the key point. As Coach Shanahan, this ain't his first rodeo. He's dealt with a lot of injured players, injured superstars, but more importantly, he's dealt with superstars, players that have been dealing with pain, and I think that's the key component here. From a player's perspective, there's a big difference between pain and injury. Yes, I know it looks like RG3, so you sit at home on your couch, is too injured to keep playing, but from the football perspective, he feels as if he can still be a benefit to his team. Brings me to my second point, Tom. There's another principle, being the dude. When you're the dude from the first snap of the season to the end, that team is expecting the dude to take the snap from center. And RG3 understands that responsibility, that burden. Coach Shanahan understands that, and every player on that team understands that. That is the dude. And even though he's not 100%, even though he's not playing his best football, we want the dude in the huddle with us.
And you have to understand what the stakes are. And certainly Coach Shanahan does, but more importantly, RG3 understands what the stakes are. We are trying to get 2 steps away from the Super Bowl. So I've got a lot of time to heal up and lick my wounds. What I would prefer to be doing is to be out here with my guys playing a game and trying to do everything I can to win that football game. And I think he did. I think Coach Shanahan made the right decision, and I think he gave them the best chance to win the game.
And they had the lead in the 4th quarter. That wasn't the issue with Seattle. Seattle was the team that was playing downhill from about the beginning of the 2nd quarter on, and they win it by 10. So we have plenty more on the most exciting game of the 4 and wild card weekend, and an amazing scene in Baltimore. Ray Lewis's home swan song. The Colts were trying to make it his swan song. We'll have plenty. We'll be back. The Seahawks had the advantage for the 2nd and 3rd quarter, but didn't have the lead until Marshawn Lynch, the beast mode, into the end zone to give them, before the 2-point conversion, a 19-14 lead. And then, when Robert Griffin III, playing gimpy to say the least, the snap was awry. He laid down. The Seahawks recovered, kicked a field goal, and that would be it. 24-14, and the Seattle Seahawks, winning their first road game in franchise history in the playoffs in 30 years. Pete Carroll did it.
What a exciting game for us tonight. To be in the situation that we're in, you know, I was worried about the tempo of the game catching us a little bit. We spent so much time on their option stuff, and that we might not be up to speed. And certainly, guys, it looked like it. We just weren't there at the tempo at the start of the game. They did a great job of, you know, coming out of the chutes at us. But what was really exciting for us is that that we weathered the storm, and the crowd, and the situation, the setting, and all that, which was great. And, you know, great championship setting and all. And our guys stayed focused and started to put the game in order. You know, for the defense to go after the first 2 scores, I think it's 65 or 70 yards or something for the rest of the night. It's just incredible. It's an incredible effort by the guys across the board. We ran for 200 and something, 220 yards tonight. That was something. This is a team that had allowed 95 yards a game, so we take great pride in that too. I thought that there was some real heralded work out there with the kicking game. House got something going on in his calf, and you know, he kicked. You could see him limping out there. He couldn't go, but he made a couple good kicks for us that we needed, and then Johnny Ryan came through as well to get his stuff done. It's a huge game to get a win in the playoffs on the road, but you know, if you're going to do anything with our situation, we better do this. You have to do it to get through it all. So we're very proud to beat this team. This is a good football team, and they're on fire, and a crowd and all that, and so we're going to take this next step heading into Atlanta, and we'll have a full week and get back to business when we get back in town. So we really like what happened tonight.
How about the resiliency of Marshawn Lynch to lose that fumble and then come back?
Yeah, he's too tough to let something like that bother him. He got smacked as I saw it. You know, the guy put a helmet right on the ball. It was so unusual for that to happen to us. You know, I mean, we can't even recall the last time that happened. You know, and so it didn't faze him at all, and we didn't, you know, back off giving him the football, of course. But it was a nice job by Robert, too. Robert came in and filled in pretty good. He had, I don't know, he's sick or something like that in the second half a little bit, and so Robert did a nice job filling in.
Marshawn's fumble recovery at that point when you're down.
Oh, my goodness, what a play that was. That has to be an extraordinary play. Dead run and scoop it up and keep on going. It was a huge play for us. It was, it happened so fast you could hardly believe what he did, you know, so pretty cool.
Did you feel like this win allows Russell to kind of get out of the shadow of RG3?
No, I don't think that at all, because I don't know that he was in anybody's shadow. He's just playing football. You know, I think it was hard to watch RG3 tonight. You know, it was hard on him. He was freaking gallant as you could be to you know, to play like he did, you know, under those circumstances, and he did well just to survive the playing time. So he's a great football player, and he's a great part of this league. And we feel very fortunate that we came in here and got a win the way this team's been playing.
What changed after that?
So the Seahawks now join only a couple other teams to trail by at least 14 at the end of the first quarter and win a postseason game. The 0-3 Eagles, that must have been Freddie Mitchell, right? Against the Packers, I would think so. 1957, that was at Kezar Stadium. The Detroit Lions were beyond 14 points down and came back. But the point is, against the Niners, the point is it doesn't happen very often. Pete Carroll. So 2 things, because they're going to be on the road, however far they go in the playoffs. Keep your eyes on the road and your hands upon the wheel. He's a big Doors fan. They're taking the crystal ship. This is where they're going. I mean, who knows, you know, we can talk about them broad brush, not even versus Atlanta. We can talk about this Seahawk team. And what you guys see is that Maybe the 49ers defensively here, yes, and not maybe, yes. But other than that, is there anyone that plays like this at this season, fellas?
Well, Thomas touched on it. They're very long and very strong. As a football team, a 53-man roster, very physical team. They have a unique young quarterback. They have unique corners. But the one thing that's not unique to the NFL is a dominant running back.
Oh, my
and
goodness.
Marshawn Lynch lives up to his nickname, Beast Mode. This guy can take over football games. It's not just the straight-ahead stuff. He does so much else. Now, first of all, this play right here, the intuitive feel to pick up that ball, the poise to one-hand stab it and then make a play after is phenomenal. Going to be one of the all-time plays of this playoffs. But then just him in general, his ability to make the hard lateral cuts after starting downhill, he gives him so much diversity in the run game. That right there, the ability to stop, restart, get to the opposite edge of the defense, and then finish runs. This is truly unique back, and we're not even going to show his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a great blocker. He is truly a three-tool back that can take over football games. You know, on 3rd and 5, when you run the zone read, you trust your runner and you trust your quarterback. When you're down 1 in the 4th quarter, that was a beautiful play call. And look at that cut right there, a beautiful run by Marshawn Lynch. I think the dominance, the physicality, the overall skill set of Marshawn Lynch gives the Seattle Seahawks offense a lot of diversity.
And yet I think the football team, the one element that is so unique is the fact that Russell Wilson is 5'10". I only mention this because it is ironic. 5'10 3/4, and his ability to dominate his football team and give them the confidence and the poise that they need to come back in a situation like this is amazing. But it was the same at North Carolina State. It was the same at Wisconsin. And it is the same with the Seattle Seahawks. So, folks, I mean it. Just enjoy what you are watching.
He's a rookie going on his 6th year.
Oh, my goodness.
Right? And Pete Carroll, I think next to Tom Coughlin, is the 2nd oldest coach in the league, but you wouldn't know that. But
Want to take what
it's a perfect matchup.
Take what he's taking. Yeah, whatever that is.
It's quite a nice mesh. Again, this is NFL Primetime. That's Trent Dilfer. That's Tom Jackson. I'm Chris Berman. The wild card round is over. The Seahawks spotted the Redskins a 14-point lead. They came roaring back and won in the nation's capital, or right outside it, 24-14. RG3 had to leave the game at the end while the Redskins were trailing. A big fumble late, down by a touchdown, and he really couldn't get up. More from Mike Shanahan on RG3's situation and decision to go as long with him as he did.
That's exactly right. I think everybody could see after our first quarter that he wasn't exactly the same. But I've had a lot of players that aren't exactly the same. There's not a lot of quarterbacks that are exactly the same this time of year. But I still thought he could go in there and make the plays that he was capable of making against an excellent defense. You don't always have to run the football, but you got to be able to sit back there and throw it. And he was able to do that, just wasn't able to scramble like he normally does.
Mike, it looked like he couldn't plant on that foot. Did that have anything to do with his passes, do you think?
No, I didn't think he had any problems planting in the pocket. But, you know, I'll tell you more tomorrow.
Coach, did you consider having any medical staff evaluate him?
Yeah, we wanted to play him unless the medical staff said he was fine to play. Checked with the doctors and asked them their opinion if we would be hampering his his LCL if we did play him, or was he in good enough shape to go into the game and play at the level that we need for him to win.
And was one of those doctors Dr. Andrews today?
Yeah, we had a couple, Annunciato and Dr. Andrews, both of them.
Dr. Andrews did say not a problem for him to play.
Yes.
But Mike, Dr. Andrews was quoted today saying he was essentially very nervous about Robert continuing to play at this point. Are you aware of those comments, and what's your reaction to them?
Yeah, I think doctors always worry anytime somebody has an injury, rightfully so. But, they clear a player if they think he's able to play, and we obviously take their recommendation very seriously.
Mike,
we would not play Robert if we thought there was a risk of him further injuring that LCL.
Well, so there it is. I mean, and no one, again, we went through this already. Nobody is questioning, right? I mean, Griffin wanted to play. Right? No. I love that. Doctors worry. They're supposed to. I love that. Even Dr. Andrews.
Look what I'm going to say. First of all, forget about the injury. Forget about how hurt he was. He played. They lost. RG3 wanted to play. Coach Shanahan really, I think, made the right decision by letting him play. But if you're a Washington Redskins fan, just think about your season, the way it has gone, what the future is going to be with this quarterback, this coach, that running back, this football team. I think that people in the Washington area, yet nobody wants to lose in the playoffs. But how excited should they be about their future and where the Redskins are headed? You got to think about it in a bigger picture than tonight.
And I want to address the injury a little bit and his performance within the injury. And I want to put this in context first and saying, I'm as impressed as anybody on the planet with RG3 and as big a fan as anybody. But he has come out publicly and said he wants to be great. So if you talk to the great quarterbacks in the National Football League, past and present, they will all tell you that they continue to learn. There's so many layers and elements to this game. You continue to grow as a player. One of the ways that a great player, a great quarterback grows is learning how to play nicked.
Yes.
Learning how to play in pain. Learning how to play almost injured. And there's a lot of quarterbacks sitting at home that have said, you know what? I know he's not feeling well. I know he's not right. But he didn't play well. And our job is to play well regardless of the circumstances. And after he gets dinged up on the scramble to the right, I think maybe it's the throwaway near the red zone, he was dramatically more inaccurate than he was before that. There's a reason for it. He's hurt. But for him to be one of the great quarterbacks of this league, he then, and Coach Shanahan touched on this, then needs to learn how to adjust his game, play within the confines of the pocket, move through his progressions, and operate as a passer and not rely upon his athleticism and the playmaking. And I know that sounds harsh, but that is one of the parts of the learning curve that RG3 will have to get over to become a Brady, a Rodgers, a Manning, a Breeze, an Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, one of the elites in this game. For him to get in that conversation, because he's gonna get nicked. He's gonna be banged up throughout his career. He still has to be accurate, and he was not accurate for the last 3 quarters of this game.
And the Seahawks are the team that's moving on, and they are flying both sides of the ball. So when we move on at NFL Primetime, we will show you the scene in Baltimore where, well, you've seen very few events like this, and really the emotion on both sides of the ball. Amazing. The Ravens and Colts highlights coming up. And emotion at Baltimore, to say the very least. Ray Lewis, one of the great players at any position ever to play in the National Football League, announcing this week that whenever the Ravens playoff run, champs of the AFC North, whenever it ended, hopefully for him and his teammates, the Super Bowl, that would be it after 17 seasons. And the Ravens, of course, he's been the face of the franchise ever since they started there in 1996 when he was a first-round draft pick. And so they've taken his lead. He hadn't played for since the middle of October, since injuring his triceps. For the Indianapolis Colts, a 2-win team a year ago, winning 11 this time, and missing their coach for 13 weeks, Chuck Pagano, who used to work for the last 4 years under John Harbaugh with the Baltimore Ravens on the defensive side of the ball, coordinator last year, fighting leukemia. Everyone knows the story. They won in his absence. They won when he came back, and they wanted to continue to win behind rookie Andrew Luck for Coach Chuck Pagano, revered on both sides. Suffice it to say, there was a lot going on at the Big Crab Cake. So here we go. And everybody on hand, including the commissioner of the National Football League, and give a big thank you to Ray. Now, everybody had to do this coming up. There's Terrell Suggs. Then Ed Reed, the second to last introduced. Here comes Ray. And they put that grass out because it used to be a grass field, right? Trent, you know, and he put the grass on. Look. An entrance unlike any other we've ever seen or will ever see. And Coach Pagano and Coach Harbaugh hugging. And Ed Reed pregame. Told you, a lot of love on both sides of the field for Coach Pagano. And now, Ray Lewis, how would he play? Well, I'll tell you how he'd play. Vic Ballard said, really, could you please leave now? Ray Lewis led his team in tackles, fellas. Colts down 3-0. And a little play action for Andrew Luck. And, oh, Ray, it was almost too good to be true, right? He had the interception.
Well, he hasn't dropped many in his career, and this actually goes down as a pass defense, and I like the sound of that more than a dropped interception.
So a low scoring, to say the least, 3-3 game with just over a minute to go in the second quarter. Joe Flacco, and see in the crest, good things happen for the home team. There's Ray Rice up the middle, gets a block from Torrey Smith, and Rice, look at him go. Out at the 2-yard line, a 47-yard play, Trent, right out of that crest.
Yep, and this is what got the Ravens going. They had done nothing offensively. Look at the Colts. They've diagnosed this play. They have two players smelling out, but Ray Rice, unbelievable job slipping back inside. Flacco the poise to give him the ball, off rhythm, and then Ray Rice doing the rest. Brilliant play.
So what won't they expect? A quick opener to the fullback, Fonte Leach. It's a touchdown, Ravens, and the first touchdown, and they Ravens lead 10-3. Coach hugging fullback. 12 seconds to go in the half. 3rd and 26. Andrew Luck. The T.Y. Hill. And he gets into field goal range. And, oh, by the way, what a surprise. First 3 field goals good by Adam Vinatieri. Postseason, he's never done that before. It's 10-6, the Ravens lead. Then, third quarter, Flacco to Anquan Boldin. This was quite a combination all day, 46 yards.
An absolute dime boom. Look at this ball drop over the outside shoulder. Beautiful play by Flacco. We know he can throw the big ball.
And a coverage there. Coverage there without a question. 3 plays later, Flacco, pressure. And the tight end, the Pitta steps into the end zone. Dennis Pitta, the tight end, touchdown, Ravens, 20 yards, 17-6 Baltimore. Andrew Luck, across the middle. Reggie Wayne, Luck, firing, completing many third down situations like 3rd and 4, but this time the ball can't be handled by Wayne. And that one was a little behind. Colts settled for another Vinatieri field goal, 17-9. Still in it, 1-score game. Then on their own 42, hey, diddle, Ray Rice up the middle. He gets tackled, but he fumbles. Ray fumbling twice on this day, and the Colts recover. And the strip is made. He'd lost no fumbles in the regular season, Tom. Made 2 on this day. So, Vic Ballard bouncing outside. Ravens defense on the field for a ton of the game. A 24-yard pickup. Luck to Donnie Avery, but he dropped it. Ball actually tipped.
Yeah, ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage, so you don't look at it as really a drop. It's a tip pass.
Then some you don't see much. He was 3 for 3, but not 4 for 4. Adam Vinatieri was more postseason field goals than anybody. Missed it, so Ray Rice says, I'm off the hook time. With him on the sidelines, Bernard Pierce, he had the 100-yard game. Look at Pierce. Get out of my way, says to Antoine Bethea. And he's tackled at the 18-yard line, 43-yard run. Then shotgun, Flacco. And again, it's one of those haymakers, or rainmakers, I should say, to Boldin, 24-9.
Yeah, unbelievable catch by Anquan Boldin. Nice route, creates some separation. Not a great throw, but look at the catch. Goes up high points, and look at him hold on, even though Butler's arm is trying to drive through the ball, drive through Anquan Boldin. Look at the strength, determination to bring the ball in. Beautiful play by Boldin.
Boldin caught 5 for 145. He seems to be better in traffic like that. Ball tipped, and Kerry Williams picks it off for the Ravens. Defense making a big play. Luck, who makes these tackles, makes another one, but he's not happy. And after the interception, the game is still going on, but Terrell Suggs over to see Coach Pagano because it looked like it was pretty much a 24-9 going to be it. Then, the last play, really? We're going to kneel down, and Ray Lewis is the fullback.
Great.
He's the safety, if you will. To one more dance. And the Ravens have won 24-9 and danced their way to the divisional finals. The hug by the coaches, the triumphant run off the field, and the Baltimore Ravens in an intriguing game, 24-9 over the Indianapolis Colts, in a game in which the Colts controlled the ball for 37.5 minutes, in a game in which Ray Lewis was the leading tackler in his final game in Baltimore ever with 13 tackles. Baltimore keeps playing.
Everything, man. And for me to look at my men in the face and know that I had to tell them that this will be my last ride. And for us to come out here and finish this like this, what else can you ask for? You know, I started my career with a hell of a bang with beating Oakland in our first game, and to end my career in Raven Stadium, because we have further things to do that we're trying to do. But to end my career like this, to end it today, with all the circumstances going on, man, it's everything I do it for. I do it for my team. You know, and I'm 37, man, and I went at it as hard as I can, and these fans has been behind me for every step of the way, man. I can't thank Baltimore enough. I can't thank my organization enough. God is just amazing, and this city is awesome.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and witness this historic moment in sports. And it wasn't just about one guy, and that was made. Nobody understands it more than the one guy we're talking about. It was about a team. It was about a city, about a fan base.
They were kind of sitting on us early. They were able to, you know, push a couple guys back, not get a ton of pressure, but push a couple guys back in my face and play pretty tight coverage early on in the first half. And I think in the second half, we definitely had a little emphasis on kind of stretching the field a little bit, and that started with Anquan.
You know, I went up to him before the game and told him I feel like 200 yards today. I don't know if he thought I was joking, but, you know, he gave me a shot in the second half. So.
Very, very proud of this football team. What they've overcame, what they've accomplished, you know, go all the way back to day one, the turnover that happened, the change, if you will. They went out and did what everybody said they couldn't do.
We've been in these situations before, you know, and it didn't happen. Ravens made plays and they needed to. We didn't. I think, you know, field goals in the red zone killed us, and some bad balls by me killed us.
This year was incredible, though. It was special and unique in so many different ways. Couldn't have imagined, you know, the type of year that it was going to be.
This is a game you want to stand up and applaud both situations. That's not the really applaud what the Colts have accomplished, and we will always remember it, and what Ray Lewis has and will continue to accomplish, because, I mean, I think it was just so much intrigue with how would this all play out. Ray Lewis, now look, he's not sideline to sideline where he maybe when he was your teammate, Trent, but Tommy, 13 tackles, his presence, his having people. How do you think he played?
I think he played great.
Awesome, wasn't it?
I think he played great. and the treat for anybody who has been a Ray Lewis fan, which includes most of us, and I wished for him this morning to go out and be able to show us some of the Ray Lewis magic, and he was able to do that, because that's what I wondered. You know, I said it this morning. I played 14 years. I could see the plays. I couldn't get to him. He played, and today he was still able to get to the plays. Maybe they were a little bit further downfield, maybe a little bit closer than, you know, over to the sideline, but he was still able to get to plays, get people down. So it's kind of that thrill of seeing Michael Jordan at the end of his career when he could still play the game. So, yeah, I enjoyed it very much, and I think he played great.
Keep this real simple. There's a lot of leaders that you can hear. There's very few leaders that you feel. In my experience with Ray Lewis is I felt his leadership. And today, sitting there in the war room with you guys, even seeing the dance, hair stands up on my arms, I felt that presence, that energy again. And I was fired up even more. You saw how excited I got when they put him in for the last play.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's just a special, unique. He's just as unique a leader as you'll ever be around. And I feel fortunate I got to feel it. I was fortunate that I got to see his last home game today.
And obviously Tom and Trent, some of the other members of the defense, they felt it too, didn't they?
Well, I thought that they fed off of it, and you saw them come and do what they have done for so many years, which is play outstanding D. Paul Kruger amongst that group, and as you watched him play the game and watch how he affected this game in different ways. Here you see him highlighted, bottom of the defensive line, great move, doesn't get the sack, forces Luck to hold on to the ball, somebody else comes through, creates an important turnover for the Baltimore Ravens. Doesn't end there. You're going to see him highlighted here. He's standing up almost in that outside linebacker position. Quick outside rush, speed rush coming off the edge. Great step. gets Luck down for a sack. Again, you're going to look to the left side of the screen. You're going to see here, this is called engage and then drop. And the sell of this has to be for him to Andrew Luck. Watch the 2 steps forward. I mean, this sells that I'm coming. Luck delivers the football. He's able to knock it down. Had 2.5 sacks on the day. Very dominant at the line of scrimmage for the Baltimore Ravens.
When the Ravens got Anquan Boldin, you thought, okay, this would be a guy a lot of 10 and 12 and 15 in the crease. Yeah. But it seems like, at least on this day, not that this is a surprise, Trent, that he'd rather have coverage right up in his face where he can almost like a rebound in basketball under the hoop. Is that fair to say?
He wins with his physicality. Yeah. He doesn't have the measurables of a big play receiver. He's not overly fast, but he has the instincts and the ball skills of a big play receiver. And the Baltimore Ravens, you study this offense over the years. We talk so much about Flacco and Ray Rice. When they're going, this guy gets going. Anquan Boldin. I mean, it starts here. They've done very little on offense. Kind of a chuck and duck play by Joe Flacco. And watch Anquan Boldin go up and say, this ball is mine. I'm going to make this play throughout the game. Now, this is a beautiful throw by Joe Flacco. But that's not an easy catch. Now, watch him track this ball. I'm sitting next to CC during this play, and he says, Trent, that's not an easy play right there. Anquan Boldin makes it look easy, and I thought this was the signature play for Anquan Boldin and the Baltimore Ravens. Watch his head inside to sell the corner, great separation, and then he saves what's kind of a lollipop throw. He goes up and wrestles it away. Watch, we talked about this earlier on the highlight. High points it, but this is the key. Butler's playing this textbook. Drive through the arms, try to rip out the ball. Anquan Boldin says, no way, I'm going to come down with that ball. Anquan Boldin, we don't talk about him enough. Right. He is kind of the secret sauce of this offense. It gets Ray Rice more opportunities and gets Joe Flacco engaged in the game and playing at a higher level.
And real quick on the Indianapolis Colts, it's a season that nobody will ever forget. What they accomplished, we'll be talking about this for years and years to come, and we hope the full recovery for Coach Pagano, because we can't wait to see what he and Andrew Luck and the young and a few veteran Colts are able to accomplish together, all together the whole time. Remember, play caller Bruce Arians wasn't even there today because he was sick and Clyde Christensen took over. Luck on paper will completed just barely over 50% of his passes, but his third down plays, look, they lost. But only Sammy Baugh, as a rookie quarterback, had more yards in a playoff game than Andrew Luck's 288. And that goes back to 1937. He had the second most ever. When you're mentioning a name and a list with Sammy Baugh, I think that Andrew Luck will take it. Congrats to the Colts, but the Ravens are moving on. The rookie QB that won of the 3 that played on this day, Russell Wilson. We'll talk him and RG3 in the late game in a moment.
Hey, Mike.
It will be, and he's got fans, whether they're Redskin fans or not. And so it's pretty clear. I mean, as you said earlier, Trent, I'm the quarterback.
He's the dude.
Right?
Job is to play. He said, don't listen to me. Listen to him. He said, I was good enough to play. It didn't hurt to push off. You know, it affected his dynamic running ability a little bit. We're making way too much of it at this point. They lost the game. He didn't play his best football. He got nicked up. He'll be fine.
Well, he said he was the best option. I already spoke to it.
Yeah, and Seattle's defense put the clamps as well, so you combine it all up. The Seahawks moving on. Robert Griffin gave folks a thrill, a division championship, and the Redskins are going to be around for a long. These other teams in the NFC East are going, oh, boy.
Yes, they are.
Man, really? We got to deal with that when he's healthy? But they do, and the running game and everything else. Seattle looked at it and said, we got something better for you. And it's their rookie quarterback, Russell Wilson, that is moving on along with the Seahawks. Moving on back to Seattle, then moving on back on the road. There's the battle of the rookies. Somebody had to win their first playoff game. It was RW1.
Carroll always is preaching and just play one play at a time. You know, we can be very, very successful. We had a lot of great opportunities, to capitalize in the red zone today, and we didn't do that quite as much as we've been as of late, but that's all right. You know, in playoffs, you just got to make plays and continue to fight, continue to have that edge, and we came out with some huge plays tonight to come up with a huge victory. I think it's the first playoff road win for the Seahawks in a long time, so to be able to do that, and now we have another huge feat in front of us. We got to go to Atlanta and play a great game. Yeah, I try to make it like every other game. You know, just the goal is to go 1-0. You know, obviously there's a there's more cameras around, there's more people watching and everything, but it's no different. You know, Coach Carroll and I always talk about right before pregame, 100 yards is 100 yards. It's 53 in the third, you know, wide. It's no different. So you just got to get out there and just play.
What was your reaction when you saw RG Kruger?
I just prayed for him. You know, obviously he's a tremendous player, and you know, obviously he's the future of the Redskins and what they do, and he's a great human being. So I just wanted to make sure he was all right.
So the Seahawks moving on because Russell Wilson, it's an interesting list. Joe Flacco, I know Ben did it, of course, and Trent, there's 99, but, you know, Joe Flacco kind of started this, right? Rookie wins, he wins every year. He's won his first playoff game all 5 years. So Russell Wilson on a short list of rookie quarterbacks to win a playoff game. We will be back with our prime time performers, and you'll never guess who one of them is. You could guess who a couple others are. We'll be back at Primetime.
Performer, I think the most important guy for the Seattle Seahawks, their quarterback, Russell Wilson. Not only his ability to throw, but to run, the quick reads, getting the ball out of his hands on time, and maybe most importantly, his team feeds off of him mentally and emotionally.
Boom, Tommy's going quarterback. I'm going running back. Marshawn Lynch, beast mode. What's going on Primetime? He was unbelievable, and he made the signature play of the playoffs, the one-handed stab play today.
Well, and I'm going linebacker. I'm going to take Tom's position. I mean, how can you not? Primetime performer like he's been for 17 years, Ray Lewis. 13 tackles, passes defense, plays made, pressures made, game won. More important than that, game won. And so the Ravens are moving on in the AFC. They get the short week. They go Saturday afternoon to Denver, and the Texans go to New England, where they got hammered earlier this year. They go on Sunday, Tom.
Well, the Broncos going to be a real challenge for the Ravens. And when you think about the defense of the Broncos, the top 5 defense, when you talk about Peyton Manning offensively, he's going to force you to score some points with him. And then I think the real challenge for the Texans, psychologically, where are you after the shellacking that you took in New England already in the regular season against the Patriots? I know the Patriots will be ready to play this game. They've been here, done that.
So, Trent, the NFC, as we found out Saturday, the Packers at the 49ers, which I think will be the best game today to the playoffs. And then these Seahawks keep rolling on the road to Atlanta, who this group tries to get their first postseason win.
Boom, Aaron Rodgers going back nearby where he grew up. Do the Niners have an answer for arguably the hottest player in football in Aaron Rodgers? And great challenge for the Seattle Seahawks. They had to fight from Seattle to Washington. Physical game, win, go back to the great Northwest, long ways away, and now back to Atlanta. I think that's a steep challenge for the Seahawks.
The first round of the playoffs, the wild card, is now in the books. The last game was really good. The first 3,
there were games.
We're ready for the divisional playoffs, the best weekend of football. This is Primetime. This was a gas. For Trent, Dilfer, and Tom Jackson, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching.